Welcome to A&B Horror Movies. I'm Aaron, and I'm very excited to be joined today by Rob Livings and Randy Nundlall. Welcome to you both.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yes, you're very welcome. And Rob, it's nice to have you on again. I
Good
can't
to be
wait to,
back. Yeah.
absolutely. I can't wait to chat with you about your brand new horror anthology called The Conjuring Tapes. Congratulations on your new film.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Molly, call me back. Something happened. It's Sarah. Hey, babe. What are you watching?
So you both co-wrote, co-directed, and Rob, you even have an acting part in the final segment of this one. So I do have a few questions for you about that. But like I said, congratulations. Before we get to the Conjuring tapes, I just want to give you a shout out for a few other films that you've worked on. The Christmas tapes. Rob, you know I'm a fan of this one, as well as Infrared. I've got some physical copies right here.
Well,
So let's jump right
thank
into
you
it.
for buying them. We appreciate it.
Of course, yes, you have my support. So let's jump right into the Conjuring tapes. I've watched it twice now. I love it. Fantastic horror segments. I love the framing piece around it. Great cast. Some really nice moments. So you've created an awesome new horror anthology. So my first question for you both is, how did the Conjuring tapes come about? How did you get inspired to create this new anthology horror?
Randy, do we give the real answer?
It's up to you.
I can
Cool.
always edit it out too, so just
No,
let me
it's all
know.
good. Yeah, so we when we finished Christmas tapes, we were like, all right, we're probably not gonna do another found footage film. So we were kind of like throwing around a bunch of ideas.
Mhm.
And then I made a joke. I was like, "Oh, we could do another found footage film, and we'll call it Conjuring Tapes." And then people might click on it because it's The Conjuring. Um, and Randy went, "Ah, no, you're an idiot." And then but actually, and then
Every
it just
single
kind
concept he brings up,
of.
I'm like, no, no. And then he'll start talking more about it. Well, he'll leave it for a while, and then he'll start talking about it again. I'm like, ah, maybe.
You
And
were
then he'll
very
keep talking
against
about,
the Christmas tapes idea, and
yeah,
then I wake up to this string of ideas in message form, and I was like, "Okay, he's on board."
yeah.
Yes. Well, I love the Christmas tapes. I know I mentioned this already, but I do watch it every year. I think you guys created something awesome there.
Yeah. So also
Well,
with like
but
the more
I will
serious,
stop.
that's right.
Go
So
ahead.
the more serious side of it was we all of our other films we've made pretty like tried to condense the shoot, and it honestly it works better if you can shoot everything in a week or two back to back, and then you don't have to have this like lingering thing.
Mhm.
But with this, we were like, okay, based on we were busy in certain points of our life at that point, and we're like, well, this could be cool because we could really space out when we shoot each short. We can just be like, just focus on one thing at a time, and then eventually, once we've done that, we can shoot the wraparound, and everything will just come together. And so we kind of did it that way, and it obviously it stretched out longer than we probably wanted it to, which is what usually happens when people stretch out shoots, and it's what we were worried would happen.
Mhm.
I think we learned we don't want to do that again, but I think it did benefit this one, giving us breathing room between each segment. And also we wanted to shoot a wraparound that wasn't found footage.
Yeah.
Because our next couple of films aren't found footage, so we haven't worked together in like the non-improvised scripted space before. So this kind of gave us a lot of practice on like you working with an actual DP, working on a set, not in a location, and stuff like that. So it was good.
So I have to ask with the framing element, did you come up with that idea first and then you fill in the segments? What's the sort of ideation process like for a film like this?
So with the Christmas tapes, we actually came up with the wraparound first with Greg. We were like, let's bring his character back, and then we came up with all the other
Yes.
segments.
Well, we
This
wouldn't
time
have
it
done the
was,
film if Greg had said no.
yeah,
Like that was the whole. If Greg says yes to playing this character again, we'll do it. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm. Okay.
And then even then we had an idea of we I think we filmed the travel buggy segment. I think it was the Vernon, the Christmas gift one, and then we had an idea for the Paranormal Perry one, but we didn't have an idea for Untitled. So when Greg pulls out the tape, the Untitled tape, and he goes, "Well, that was weird." So we're like, "Okay, now we have to come up with something super short, something that's really weird." So with this one, we came up
Yeah.
with the segments first, but we knew the wraparound would have some sort of grief element to it, because we
Hmm.
wanted to do like grief horror, and then the idea slowly started to come to us.
Well, we also wanted to work with like the same actors in each
Yeah.
segment. That's the big thing with when you don't have a whole lot of money, like you're working with your friends, right? And we only have so many friends who act. So it's like, okay, well, how can we pull something together
Yes.
where
Yes.
they can be in a lot of it? And then
Hmm.
yeah, so we had that like the setup idea, but we didn't. The rest of it was kind of like, well, let's just see how it plays through. And the Mr. Magpie thing kind of came into it
Mhm.
later on, which was fun. So it was actually fun puzzling it
Hmm.
together as in the second stage of filming.
Yeah. Well, luckily your friends are all very talented actors, so that
Thank
proves
you.
to benefit you both, as well as you, Rob. So I'll just jump right into it. So in the final segment, Rob, you are the cameraman. What was it like taking on the role of acting in the Conjuring tapes?
Yeah,
And I
so
think you did a fantastic job, by the way.
well, thank you. Yeah, people have been kind. I watch it and I cringe because it's me. I'm not an actor, so like it's me seeing myself on
No, give
camera.
yourself some credit. You did a good job. There's only one line where I'm
One
like,
line,
Yes.
one line that yeah, I know the line. But yeah, it was fun. So the reason that actually came about wasn't because I wanted to be on in the film. It was so in all of
Mhm.
our found footage stuff, I mean, it's usually someone else holding the camera, or it's like the actor is playing and they've got the camera. But what happens with that is I'm still holding the camera and they're behind me and they're giving their dialogue. Um, for this one, we knew by the time we got to the cave that wasn't going to be possible. Just the sound, footsteps, all that kind of stuff. So it basically it was easier for me to just do it. And also because I was going to be seen on camera in the barn for the whole monologue stuff. So we weren't going to be I would have to have then given a camera to someone who doesn't know how to use a camera, at least to the level that we wanted it. So it really
Got
became
it.
it was out of a sense of necessity other than anything. I mean, in infrared, my voice is like I'm the camera person in that, but you only hear me a couple of times and I wasn't seen. So yeah, this was like a next step for me. So, but the actors were really good. They kept making me feel comfortable because I was very self-conscious the whole time. And yeah, so it was kind of an interesting experience.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, I think you did a great job. And when I first heard your voice when I was watching it, I was like, "Oh my God, I think that's Rob." And then as it continued on, I was like, "Oh yeah, he's definitely in this." So that's very cool. Um, my next question is: it's really interesting how the framing story, the lead actresses see themselves in the segments. I guess you mentioned that for budgetary reasons that sort of worked out well. But putting that aside, did you intend to have those watching, the two characters watching, actually be in the segments as well? Was that always the plan right from the start, or did that sort of come together as you started
yeah,
casting and planning?
yeah, that was the idea from the beginning. Like Rob said, for like budget
Mhm.
reasons, and we like working with those actresses, so we thought, okay, let's put them in all the segments, make it like kind of weird, creepy. So that's how it came about.
Yeah, because it
Yes.
was the only idea we essentially had at the start was these two friends find these tapes and they're on the tapes. That was what we had to work with before we shot the possession segment. Um,
Okay.
and that was all we had. And then each segment was written kind of, and we're like, oh, okay, how can we wire this together?
Hmm.
Where things changed a little bit was with the grief segment. That was actually written by our friends Ben and Rob of the Every Movie Ever podcast. Um, they kind of reached out to us, saw we
Oh,
were doing
awesome.
another. They saw we were doing another film, and they were like, "Hey, can we like pitch a segment to you?" And then instead, it wasn't a pitch. They sent us a whole like script and all this other stuff. And we were like, "Oh, this is like pretty good. And it had this Mr. Magpie character. I think originally he was called like the Collector, but I was like, no, that's a movie already. Um, and yeah, so that kind of that like led into us adding in this extra mythology into like the rest of the film. So it was kind of fun how that came about organically, and we were able to include friends in the writing process.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so I saw that there are co-writing credits there.
Mhm.
So the inspiration for Mr. Magpie, which is sort of like the demonic villain that sort of carries through all the segments, is that how the inspiration came from the possession story?
Came from the grief story.
I mean, the grief story, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. So that was just yeah, it was like, kind of like we were just joking about names, and that came about, and it kind of stuck. I scribbled down that little image and was like, oh, okay, this could be something. And then we had
Yeah.
honestly, like for the wraparound, we spent a lot of time trying to figure out how much of Mr. Magpie to put in it. Like originally,
Mhm.
we were chatting with chatting about having an actor kind of play it, like kind of half like off screen. And when we kind of figured less is more in this situation. So, and some people,
Mhm.
it's polarizing. Some people are loving not knowing much, and others seem to be
Yeah.
really frustrated. So it is what it is.
Well, what you don't see is what's scariest, and I think you've accomplished that here. So, can you both speak a little bit about what it's like working together? So, maybe Randy, with you first. How do you, I don't know, how do you work together? How do you collaborate? What do you bring to the table that perhaps Rob doesn't, and vice versa?
It's a nightmare.
It's a
It's a nightmare.
nightmare, right? This,
No,
yeah,
it's
this is
a
the first time you've
We've done it
spoken in
yeah.
done it
weeks.
4 times. Yeah, it's
We're going to therapy. He I really enjoy it because we're the opposite in terms of
Okay.
personality and like things we like to do. So it what's the word? Works together well. Uh
I don't think that's the word, but yeah,
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
we complement each other.
Complements
Yeah.
each
Compliment
other.
each other.
Yeah,
There it
yeah.
is.
Um yeah, so Rob likes going out and like hyping things up and getting locations and talking to lots of people. I don't like that. I like doing the organizing, which I'm sure Rob
Mhm.
doesn't like to do the
No, I can't
yeah.
do Google Sheets, and
Yeah.
Randy's really good at it.
Um I like doing all the editing. I don't like giving editing notes. I don't think Rob it does either, but yeah, that's
I don't
just
like giving notes until I want to see various versions of cuts. Like
mm,
I like giving loose notes. Like some people like to go through a rough cut and give really, really detailed stuff. And like I feel like I'd rather have other people give certain things and then kind of come in at the end and really try and fine tune because it's such a
Mhm.
creative process, right?
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, it's just obviously Randy sometimes is waiting on notes, but like I'm like I can't give those notes until we have the sound. He's like, and I can't give it to sound until I have the
yeah.
notes. But no, to the yeah, to the point, like Randy, so Randy does the edit. I shoot, so like we don't kind of clash there.
Okay.
I mean, I edited the other girl, and then I think after editing Infrared, Randy was like, "Oh, I really like editing found footage." So it's weird. Like I do a lot on the pre-production end in the like collecting of things, like kind of like the busy work. Randy will do like the organizing things and keep things in check. On
Mhm.
set, if there's more than one actor, we'll kind of because we've been working in the improvised space so far. What we will do is focus on um, the like if there's a couple of actors, we'll work with a different one each
Yep.
between takes because we don't want them kind of like communicating what they're going to say because then it's not improvised and it doesn't feel natural. But I guess yeah, with the wraparound, I think I kind of focused more on the technical and the visual
Yeah.
with the cinematographer Michael. So I was always watching the screen, which was new for me. I'm a very much like watching the actors and not the screen. And then during the thing, Randy would be watching the actors, so he'd be working on performance and I'd be working with the visuals. And I think as a director, you usually throw visuals to the side when it's on your own if you're like on a time crunch,
Mhm.
because obviously the performance is important. So it's actually really nice to have that. And I 99% of the time, I think I mentioned this last time, me and Randy agree with everything, or with one of us will start to explain why we want the other thing, and then we'll realize that we're wrong. But we also have Austin, our sound guy. He's like the mediator. Not that we ever fight. We actually haven't ever had a
Of
fight.
course.
But we'll be like, oh, I don't know which one's going to work, and we'll just say, hey, which one do you think, Austin? And he's always listening in on the headphones, and he'll be like, Randy's idea, Rob's idea, and then we're like, sweet, and we just go with that, and we just trust it and move on. So we've
Mhm.
just, I think the lack of creating conflict where it doesn't need to exist is kind of something that we're both good at.
Mhm.
with
We
each
also
other.
yeah, we wear a lot of hats on set as well. Um, and I think some filmmakers don't want to do that. They want like, oh, we need someone to do every single role. And I think I like that about Rob. He likes to do lots of different things. I like to do lots of different things
Yeah,
because I think we get stressed out when there's like lots of people in the crew. I
we
get
hate
stressed out
big
when
sets. Yeah,
people are like sitting around doing nothing because then I start to feel bad and I shouldn't be feeling bad. And I think
yeah.
that's distracting,
Yeah.
especially
Actors
if they're giving
actors
up
are
their time.
like actors are like the one thing where it's like, okay, sometimes
Yeah,
they,
that's
they
fair.
just accept they have to sit around. But we'll always schedule
Mhm.
it so they don't have to sit around unless it's Randy's girlfriend on one day.
Yeah.
Where we felt bad because we misscheduled and that was one of the it was like unlike us. But
Oh no.
he was cool. It was just like we felt bad. So, but yeah, so we don't like people waiting around. So we'll get people reaching out to us all the time. Hey, can I come be a PA on your set? And like, it's kind of one of those things where like we want to give a lot of people opportunities. Like we'll bring PAs to like the barn scene
Yeah.
where there's like people to wrangle and things like that. But the
Mhm.
wraparound, we were in a studio, we'd built a set and we had everything we needed. And it was just like, if we have extra people on set, they're just going to be sitting around till 4 in the morning and they might not mind, but we feel bad. So we just try to keep things super small and just take on the roles ourselves. Yeah.
And it sounds like a lot of planning goes into it. Would you say that's accurate, that you're always planning each day, each week when it comes to filming? Is that true?
I would say we have an overall plan, but we're very flexible in improvising. If something goes wrong, I think we come up with a solution pretty quick. So actually, with
Okay.
Infrared, the ending was supposed to be very different.
Hmm.
I think Greg was supposed to like lead them in that big dusty room. He was supposed to shoot some of them,
It
and then
was
the
me.
ghost
Yeah,
froze Rob. But then people were concerned. We didn't realize there was like glass on the floor.
and
So
rebar and other things.
yeah, so that night we pretty
Oh
much
gosh.
improvised as a group, like very quickly how the ending would go, and I think it turned out better.
It turned out way better and it turned out funnier. I think the nice thing about all that was the only person who was at risk of getting hurt in that entire situation was me. And everyone was basically saying, "No, you're not doing it." I was like, "I'll do it. I'm sure we'll be fine." And everyone was just like, "No, we're not doing it." And
That
then
was funny.
I remember we had like a 25-minute powwow where everyone who was involved that day was stood in a circle in one of the rooms upstairs in the school. And everyone was just pitching ideas for an ending. Um, and I don't know whether who even came up with the Greg. I feel like it might have been Nicole. Um, I'm not sure,
I
but
can't
yeah, either
remember.
way, but like we're open to a bunch of different things. There's like obviously story beats have to
We
be
knew
in
everyone was going to
place.
die at
You
the end.
have to
Yeah,
hit the beats. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
also like we pay everyone, whether it's upfront or deferred payment, but it's not a lot. So like we also want everyone to feel a creative hold on the film as well. And that's what's really good with
Mhm.
improvisers. The actors really buy into the project because it's not just them reading the words and creating the character from that. They're actually creating the
Yes.
characters. So yeah.
So now that you've worked on a number of films together, speaking about improvising, typically with found footage films, there is a lot of improvising, right? Sometimes you can sense that there's too much improvising, or sometimes it's too scripted. What sort of direction do you find yourself moving in now that you have made a number of found footage films? Would you lean more towards let the actors improvise, or are you thinking maybe more scripted and focused is the approach, or a combination of both?
Going forward, we're looking into more of the traditional kind of filmmaking, more scripted. Obviously, we're both open to like actors improvising certain moments, but because
Of course,
it's
yes.
more traditional,
Mhm.
it's more rigid with what you can do because of the camera, where it's placed, or the lights. Because
Yes.
with found footage, you can move the camera wherever. So if an actor says something, Rob can just point the camera at them. Then you can do jump cuts and stuff in the edit, so it's easy to cut stuff out. But with a traditional kind of filmmaking, it's harder to do that, depending
Mhm.
on the
Mhm.
coverage.
Yeah, and also just
Of
like I mean,
course.
I love the opening of Conjuring tapes because
Yeah.
obviously there's the phone call, there's that one line, but there's not a lot of dialogue, right? We really like
Mhm.
atmospheric horror, but not to like the level of just where nothing ever happens. But I think we're excited about the idea of doing a film that is minimal to no dialogue, and it really is about the tone and really is about that feeling, which
Yes.
is the
Oh,
opposite of
awesome.
Yeah, and with that, that's cool because the script is almost a shot list. So like we know what we're
Yes.
getting. You're almost doing a paper edit before you start. So yeah, like our next one we're actually doing a short film next, which is going to be new for us as a collective. Randy makes them all the time to practice. Um and you
Oh,
should check him out on his website.
cool.
Actually, they're really fucking good.
Oh, thank you.
He gets weird when I compliment him. But
Yeah.
they're good. They're really good and
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
visual
Send me the link. I'll put it in the description and I'll flash it on
Oh,
the
thank you.
screen too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
cool.
so we're going to be doing a little proof of concept short next. We've been given a bit of money for that, which is really nice by someone who like believes in the overall project. So we're going to make that and then use that to get the next step of funding after that for the full length, which we already have the outline for, and we're working on that script. So yeah, we got that. And then what's the other one? It's almost, what do you call it? A home? It's not a home invasion thriller. It's like a reverse home invasion. I don't know.
Yeah.
A take
Uh,
on it.
a single
Oh,
location thriller in a
Single
house.
location thriller in a mansion. Yep.
Yeah,
oh, excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I can't wait, man. Count me in for all that. Keep me updated
sure. Yeah.
as always. So,
Mhm.
so going back to the Conjuring tapes, the lead actresses, I want to make sure I say their names right, Samantha Laurenti and Brenda Yanez. Is
Yep.
that right?
Brenda Yanez.
Um,
Yep.
Yanez. Okay. So what was I guess I don't want you to speak for them too much, but what would you say was the most challenging aspect for them to play so many different roles in one film? And what was the challenging aspect for you both to give them advice from a director's perspective, to bring those characters to life?
Ooh. Um,
Because, I talked about wearing multiple hats, like
uh,
with them as an actor, it's like, okay, who am I today?
yeah.
Sort of a way of approaching it.
I think sometimes this is not exclusively them. Some actors they bring a lot of great ideas to the table. I'm going to say that first of all, which
Mhm.
is like their moments came up. We're like, whoa, okay, that works better than what we had in mind. But I think sometimes actors, like myself and Rob, already have the end product in mind. So
Mhm.
sometimes the actor might not fully understand where it's going. They might be like, well, this doesn't make sense for the character, or this doesn't make sense. Like I wouldn't do this, but sometimes not thinking about the character. So like Possession, for example, Samantha, and a lot of people think that's the best segment. Like they're like, I really like the performance.
That's
Her
so good.
favorite one is
Yeah,
actually the grief one, but
I love that one
lots of
too.
people like the Possession one, and she's like, this seems weird. Like I'm going around, just like pull out a shotgun. This guy is gonna like shit his pants. Like what the hell is going on?
Yeah,
Uh,
oh my God,
but
right?
yeah, and even the
Tacos or
yeah, taquitos. Even
taquitos, that's right, yes.
even like Jeff was like, I don't get what's going on right now, but that's a lot of people like that segment. So I think
So,
sometimes
Mhm.
just logic is good, but sometimes you need to throw that logic out the window.
yeah, and also
Mhm.
I mean that was with Jeff. Like we hadn't worked with Jeff before. He's a really really funny stand-up
Yeah.
comedian. And we were just kind of we like to throw comedians into our films because then we end up with they add extra comedy to it. But with him,
Mhm.
he had to like kind of trust us, and we just kept being like, all right, so your stomach's gonna rumble here, and you're gonna go shit after this. And he's like, okay, all right, so
Yeah.
yeah. But like with, I guess, so with Samantha asks a lot of questions,
Mhm.
which is good because that helps us get to like what she needs from that. But at the same time, she's worked with us, like she worked with us on the other girl, which that one we asked a lot of trust of our actors because we were doing something that they none of them had done before. And that came out like we think that came out really good. And so, but then we've worked with Sam again and again. So she's asking those questions, but she knows that we're going to get to an end result that works. With
Mhm.
Brenda, this was our first time working with Brenda outside of like working on other sets with her. This is our first time directing her. And yeah, she was just very, very trusting of the process. And she's like, well, Leia, I'm sure it'll come out great. And like she was very positive about it. And then yeah, so like she's been very, very happy with the result as well. So it's kind of it's interesting to see. But I think people just put their trust in us. Also, because we've done a couple of films already now, it's easier like to for some
Mhm.
people to go, oh, you got that film out, that film screened here, that film is on streaming. I can see that there is a finished product. You guys know what it is you're trying to get to. So,
A lot
yeah,
of
I
the
think
actors just come up with like we'll give them like you need to end up here, maybe mention something about this, and they just add like they bring it to life. They add these little funny
Mhm.
moments. Like for example, in the possession segment, we need to justify why they're still filming after she has the gun. So I told Iman,
Yeah.
okay, well you need money, right? So maybe you think you can sue her. So that's why you keep filming. And then he goes with that, and it just makes it funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the humor that you
Yeah.
have, and especially in the earlier segments. The last one, the SRO segment, is very dark, but what a fantastic ending. And I was thinking about if I had to choose a favorite one. I'm not sure which one I would pick. I really loved Grief. I thought Phoenix Brewer was fantastic as Michael. As his body, I don't really have a question here. I'm just giving you some
He's a
praise.
fantastic
His
actor.
body
Yeah.
contorts, and yeah, oh my God, that was so good. Um, let's see, which of the segments, which one would you say was the most difficult to film, and perhaps which one was the most rewarding if you had to pick?
Oh,
So, I mean, there's two answers to that. So the first one, which is, I think grief was probably both the easiest and the hardest. Because
Mm,
we went the first time because we had all the cameras set up, and it was making sure we had them in a position where they were believable in one room.
okay.
But the first time we got there, we got everything set up. We were all good to go because that was an actual therapist office, and
Mm.
then like the power in the city kind of went out up in El Dorado County,
yeah.
and
Oh
we
my
were
It was
God.
for a few hours as well.
it was for a few hours, and we were just like, oh, okay. So like we had to kind
Thanks.
of like tear everything down. And then I guess for Randy, I couldn't be on set the second. Like we'd gone through and we'd blocked everything, we'd practiced everything. And Michael, our cinematographer, was on board for this one because it needed a few more flourishes. And
Mhm.
yeah, so like I was actually I wasn't on set for the actual filming of that. So I mean, maybe that was harder for Randy. Maybe he enjoyed working without me. I
I
don't
think
know.
with that one because everyone is like looking at me like, and I'm wearing multiple hats, so it's hard for me. Like, okay, well, even things like oh, I have to get the food, like I have to order the foods, but I'm like, I don't want to think about that because I need to focus on where this camera is and what the lighting's looking like and what this person's doing. So that was a challenge. Uh,
Mm.
Possession, all of them had a challenge. Possession, the GoPros kept like they stopped
Oh,
filming. There was one moment where we only had one take and it works because the thing kept stopping. So we were
their
lucky.
yeah, their batteries were bad. It was
Yeah.
such a we couldn't track
Oh
down.
gosh.
Yeah, we were trying to basically a lot of people just stopped buying Go unless you're in extreme sports or like
Mm.
random vlogging stuff. People stopped buying GoPros a long time ago because phones obviously kind of surpassed them. So like
Yeah.
we were doing calls. People were giving us all these different GoPros and we are like, well, okay, we got a GoPro 2, we got a
Yeah.
3. Oh, there's a 5. We can use
Yeah.
that one. So we just had this like mishmash of GoPros, and they all needed to look the same in case you saw them on camera. So we had to go the older one. So the batteries sucked. Um, the originally like that helmet,
Oh
which I have
gosh.
over here, like because
Yeah.
he was wearing the face thing originally. Like I've got one of those like POV helmets with where you can put a
Mhm.
proper camera on it. But then when we
Yeah,
tested with
yeah.
that, it's like
Yeah, sure.
you couldn't see his face. Because you have the camera there and then a monitor down there, so we couldn't do that. So yeah, we got stuck with the GoPro. So I would say Possession was a real rough one from a technical standpoint. I think it was also the
Because
most
yeah, you had
yeah.
Rob had a shoot for work and then he was coming from the Bay Area and it was traffic. So I had to start and I'm not comfortable. I don't think I've used that camera before.
hmm
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just like emulate what Rob's doing.
Oh, because Iman was using the normal camera that we
Yeah, but
use.
then the shot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Jeff, I was like, I thought this has autofocus. So I'm like trying to figure out, well, like, why isn't the focus working? I'm like, okay, I got lucky here. Um, yeah, the Ouija segment, just a lot of makeup,
Mhm.
which made it challenging because I didn't realize. So my girlfriend was the ghost that appears, and
Oh yeah.
she's not an
Absolute
actress.
trooper. Absolute
Yeah,
trooper.
she's not an
That's so
actress.
cool. Yeah.
She needed to use the bathroom for a few hours, but I didn't know. And I didn't realize when you have the makeup on, you can't use the
Take
bathroom.
because you can't take stuff off. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh gosh.
she was upset with me. So that was a challenge. Um and then
If you want me to
SRO.
edit this out, I can. I'm just
Sorry.
kidding. Just kidding.
um, um
Just Randy, just say she was amazing, and then cut that in. There
yeah,
you
she
go.
was amazing.
Yes, yes.
Um and then with
And I'll
the
show a picture of her. Go
yeah,
ahead.
with the SRO segment, that was like the
Mhm.
biggest cast and crew we've worked with to date. So that was a challenge.
Mhm.
Keep finding the location. Like we had a barn location, and then we lost it like a few days before, and then we already organized.
Oh, that's
Uh,
right. Yeah, we lost the barn on the Friday, so I had to find one on the Saturday,
Oh gosh. How
and
do you
and
lose
we
a
then
filmed on
barn
Sunday.
location? How does that happen? They just
so it's like a barn that's rented out for events up in like the
Mhm.
Placer County area, and the owners have a bunch of like old classic cars
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. And then someone, I guess they were away, and the person who was managing it didn't like have access to the keys. So
That
this
was it. Yeah.
barn was just filled with cars. So we were like, oh, they're like, yeah, you just
That's not working.
can't do it. So we reached out to
Mm.
the Eldorado Film Commissioner, who she's amazing. Well, yeah, she's amazing. They're kind of fighting cuts at the moment, so fingers crossed they don't lose their office. But she basically spent all of that Friday driving around and giving us lists and calling people and finding different options. And then the
Mm.
barn we got 10 times better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, the
Oh,
guy
it looks
who
awesome. Yeah, it
yeah,
looks
the
good.
guy whose parents owned it is a filmmaker, so it was very like everyone understood what was going on. Like he already had parking maps from when people had filmed there before, so it was one of those
Oh,
like
cool.
happy accidents.
Yeah.
And then there was a family emergency, which meant we didn't have our sound guy for the stuff in the cave, which we shot on the same day as the barn. We shot all of that in one day, so um,
Oh my gosh. How many hours was that?
that wasn't
Like,
terrible, was it? We
it
I
we
think
wasn't
it was like
terrible?
I'd say 10 and 10.
9, 10, 9 till like
Wow, that's amazing.
It was about 10
8,
till 10
9.
probably.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't even
10.
a 12-hour day. So um the mine was great because we had it like it's one of those things like you book for a certain amount of time for a lot of places, but then the person who opens up for you is often excited about your project and happy to like
Mhm.
do whatever. That happened with Infrared. We got so many extra hours from security guards who just thought it was cool. So yeah, so
To
we were
be
in that
part of
in
it indirectly. So was it in a real mine? That
yeah, so
ending?
it used to be a working mine, and now it's like one of
Okay.
those a lot of school trips and field trips and stuff to it. It's called
Mm.
Gold Bug Mine. It's up in El Dorado Hills. Oh, it's up in Placerville, past El Dorado Hills, and
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
we just had to be careful because it's not very long. I can't
Yeah.
remember how long was
It's not
it.
that long. I think if you walked from the beginning to the end, you'd be done in like 2 minutes.
We had to do a lot of like cutting. Luckily, it bends, so we had to do a
Mm.
lot of like cutting in black to make it look
Good.
a lot longer than it was.
Okay, okay.
And then at the end,
And
before the
reusing portions of it?
reusing portions.
Yeah.
And then before the
Yeah.
fork at the end, there's almost like a little museum set up with some lighting that we had to block of like old carts and like an old miner and stuff. So we definitely had to work around a few things. You can't tell on the,
No, I
well,
didn't
yeah.
notice. Yeah,
And
no,
then,
it's great. Very
sorry.
claustrophobic too. Was it claustrophobic filming it? How did you fit everything
Yeah,
into
because
such a small space? Go
I
yeah,
ahead.
think Rob
we
hit
had
his head a few
I
times.
had my head a bunch of times, but you have to wear a hard hat, so that was good. So when I'm not on camera, I had a hard hat on. So
Okay, okay.
you
Safety
had to
first.
running. Obviously, you had to like duck a bit. Something cool that came up though in that mine was the bit at the end with the flames under the door and the cults chanting. That was our
Mhm.
BTS guy came up with that. He was like, "Why didn't you do that?" And we were like, "Oh." He's also our cinematographer and other things, but it was just like
Yeah, yeah.
little
Oh, it
things
looks
that
so good.
just kind of added something. Yeah, because I brought a gas fire pit with us just so we when we got out of the mine, which was freezing, we had somewhere warm to be. And then he was like, "We can utilize this." So yeah, I don't
Awesome.
remember what our question was, but we got somewhere with it.
Challenges,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, we just sort of yeah, we that was great. That was a great answer. I know you've done some screenings so far. What has that been like with an audience and seeing their reaction, getting their reactions while they're watching it, and also hearing from them afterward?
With watching it at Tower Theatre in Sacramento, so like Rob said, we had
Mhm.
like 200 people.
Wow.
There was probably like six or so empty seats. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
So
Packed
watching
house.
that,
Cool.
yeah, watching that, we knew it was funny, but I didn't realize how funny it was. People, because there was more laughter than I expected, but it was always in the right place, which is good.
Mhm.
Mm.
So I enjoyed that, and it was interesting seeing the first two segments are more funny, but then when we get to the third segment, it was just interesting to see how like dead silent it was.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
enjoyed that.
Mm.
Uh, out of all the screenings we've done, that was probably my favorite one.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
like talking to lots of different people, lots of people liked it, and then watching it at Dreamland is do you say 28 seater?
26 seats. Yep.
Yeah, very small. They had a screening there Thursday, which Rob went to, and I think it was pretty much sold out.
Hmm.
And then I went yesterday, and they had films all day. So when I went, it was like 10 people. So it was like a very different feeling. But people
Hmm.
were laughing a lot in the first and second one, and then the rest was silent. The questions that got asked yesterday were very interesting as well. So I enjoyed that, and then I talked to some people afterwards, and they had lots of questions. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the tower screening. Obviously, like people were involved with it with there, so it was always going to be a somewhat positive experience. But yeah, I think seeing laughter in places that we hadn't thought about was good, or like little moments that I thought would hit harder, or other moments that like there's that line by Robert in the who plays Gary, like the sequels are always better than the original. I've always found that hilarious. There hasn't been one laugh at any of the
What? Yeah,
screenings.
actually, the screening yesterday, they
Oh,
laughed.
Okay,
Yeah,
like
so
that was one of my favorite lines in the whole film, and it just I guess it's one of the it's a
and
very
nothing. Oh,
it's very specific to who. I mean, he's not the focus in
sure.
that moment, so I get it.
Mm.
Um,
but then even the bit after he sees the demon, the ghost girl, and he runs out and he's like, Samantha, meet me outside. And
mhm.
then people start laughing. I'm like, that is funny because he's just ditched his
Yeah,
wife
meet me in the
Yeah.
fending
car.
for
I'll
himself.
I'll be in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it turns to see the ghosts, and then people laughed because of his reaction. It was like, whoa! And yeah, just
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
was cool. And also just the "you don't look so good, honey." It gets
yeah,
a
yeah,
really big
Yes.
reaction.
Yeah,
But that
that's
all
good.
that stuff, like,
Yeah.
because he said a bunch of stuff on set. All of the dialogue for him, pretty much after he sees the girl in the bathroom, we did in a sound booth for ADR. Like we would just like improvise. I just had him yelling a bunch of random stuff because he's a comedian as well. They're
yeah.
all comedians.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so
Makes sense.
he's just yelling a bunch of stuff, and we just tried out a bunch of different things, and we leant into the funny because when you lean into the funny, it catches people off guard when the horror stuff comes,
Hmm.
which I think
It
is a good thing. Yeah,
complements it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works
yeah.
well. Um, yeah, I love that portion too. So, I often like to ask if you could describe your film using other films, sort of like Alien meets Predator. How would you describe the Conjuring tapes?
Oh,
Maybe I should have warned you about this one
I
ahead
mean,
of time.
obviously it's VHS,
yeah.
VHS, yes.
VHS framing. What kind of tone? I would say. The hard thing is as like you know like it's the four
Hmm.
movies you have two comedy horrors and then you have two like straight horrors
Serious. Yeah.
two serious ones,
Hmm.
so I don't know, I would say like you've got your kind of creep on the front end, um
Hmm.
so like the VHS creep vibe, if creep was a tape like the creep tapes, and
Yeah.
then secondary, I don't know, it's much more. Yeah,
Mm.
I didn't. I don't even know. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe The Conjuring, and it's not found footage, but
Well, the
gosh, I don't
wraparounds.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's some
It's got
I would
humor
say
in The
kind of
Conjuring
like
too.
Hereditary, like elements of that.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Or
We
Yeah,
just
I like
decided,
that.
hey, do you know what goes really well with grief horror? Comedy.
yeah,
Um, so
Yeah,
maybe
but
we've created the grief comedy section that didn't
yeah, yeah.
exist
there
before.
you go. There you go. But I
Yeah.
think the fact that you're struggling to pick movies shows that your film is unique and stands on its own. So I think that is an accomplishment there.
Thank
And
you.
I do want to mention that I think it's awesome that you had some cameos in here. I noticed the Horror Nerd Productions, Dylan Brown and Michael Rock are in there. Greg Sestero even had a part. It was cool to see him back. Um,
Yeah, the
I don't really
nostalgia
have,
critic one has been Doug Walker being in there has made a lot of
yes.
people happy, which has been cool because he was a big fan of Christmas tapes. So that was like and he said, if you ever need anything, and I was like, all right,
Here's your moment. Yes. All right.
yeah.
Very cool. Let's see. I want to ask you both, do you have a favorite found footage film if you only could pick one?
Obviously the Christmas tapes. No,
The Christmas tapes. Yes. Then we're done. Moving right along.
favorite.
The
I like
gallows too. No,
yeah.
The
I like
gallows, the Blair Witch too.
yeah. I like Wreck. I would say it's my one of my
Oh, Rick.
favorites.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Lake Mungo is my go-to, although that's more a faux doc than
Mm.
found footage. But if we're going with traditional, honestly, the first Paranormal Activity is
Mm.
genius. It deserves
Oh,
all
it's so
of
good.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got rid of the shaky cam kind of idea that obviously it still
Mhm.
had some, but it really utilized quiet spaces really, really well. I thought
Yeah.
that was terrifying. Even yeah, seeing I remember seeing
Oh,
that in the theater.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw in
that
the
was
theater
amazing.
too. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
And the
this is so
third one gets a
scary.
special mention. The third one, just with the oscillating fan, like that's one of the most clever
Yes.
moments in any
Oh
found
my
footage
God.
film, for sure.
Yes. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. A few misses in that franchise, but
Oh, for
mostly
sure.
good.
But one and
Um,
three, awesome. Yeah.
yeah. All right, let's move right along to this or that. The this or that segment. I gave you guys a little bit of a heads up. Rob, you've been through this before. I just throw out two things, you pick one or the other. No pressure, no right or wrong answer in most cases. So the first one is Creep Show 1 or Creep Show 2?
I haven't seen Creepshow.
Oh
I
my
feel like
God,
I've been
it's
asked
so
this
good.
before. People are like, yeah,
Yeah.
Creepshow, Christmas tapes. I'm like, I haven't seen it.
Hmm.
Creepshow 2.
Creep Show 2, yes.
Is
I
that
love them
controversial?
both.
I watched no, the Creepshow 2 is one of those sequels
Oh,
that's really
They're
well loved. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
They're both
fantastic.
good. Yeah.
Mhm. Fantastic. You've got to watch them, Randy. I think you'll love them. They're
Okay.
great.
Very funny.
Yes, very funny. Physical or streaming media?
I I like the idea of physical media because you have such a cool setup there. Um,
Thank you.
I'm also like a minimalist, so I'm
Right,
gonna say
right.
streaming. But if I had a lot of space, definitely
Mhm.
physical.
Fair enough.
I love
Yeah.
physical. I worked at
Yeah. I
Blockbuster.
mean,
I have a
got
Blockbuster.
VHS tapes.
Yeah, I got a shit ton of VHS tapes. Giving away 2,500 before I moved to America was a heartbreaking moment.
Oh my God,
I
that's
know a
so
lot of good
sad.
horror as well. But they went to the right people. Yeah, so
Okay.
physical for sure. Although streaming, if our distributor is watching, because that's how we make money.
Yes.
Maybe make money. I don't
It's a
know.
necessity. Yes. Well, will we get a physical copy of the Conjuring tapes? Because
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we're working
okay,
on that.
perfect.
That one's cool. That's actually going to show up in like Amazon stores and stuff. It's going to be way more accessible than the
Awesome.
previous because we're not doing it ourselves. I mean, we're actually recording a is it this week we're recording the commentary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Um, Actually, I do want to put a special mention out there. I feel like the MVPs of this film were our sound people, like Jonas, who's based out of Hungary. He's this Danish sound guy. He did all the Foley for us, and he was absolutely amazing. He's going to do the commentary with us because it was so integral to the film. And then Nathan, who did the mixing here locally, was yeah, we put them through it in a good way. Like it was just like there was a lot to make this
Yeah.
film work, and sound is the hero of this movie, 100%. Yeah.
The
Awesome.
sound in found footage is very challenging because you can't have traditionally you shouldn't have music because it breaks that feeling. So
The
you have to try
veil. Yeah.
scare people
Yeah.
with the sound, and I think them two did a really good job of it.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Well, keep me updated on the physical release because I'll definitely get one.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Hopefully you've seen these movies. Body Bags or Tales from the Dark Side, the movie.
Oh, you make me look
I,
bad.
I've seen Tales from the Dark Side. I haven't seen Body Bags. So,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So,
Tales from the Dark Side then. They're both good. Um, okay, here, this isn't movie related. Walk on the beach or hike in the woods?
oh,
Ooh, I like a hike in the woods. It's less sore on your calves, you know?
It's true.
Well, it depends if
True.
there's a hill. No, I love camping, and I mean, I grew up on the beach, but like, I'll take a hike in the woods over a walk on the beach because, especially in San Francisco, it's windy as hell. So,
Yeah, good.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
good
say a
choice.
walk on the beach because in
On the
England we don't
beach.
have we our beaches are like there's dog shit
rocks.
everywhere and just like dirty
Oh
sea.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I guess I would
I'd
choose
say a
that
walk on
too
the
then.
beach. Yeah.
Okay, okay, perfect. Let's see, more movies. Fear footage or scare package?
I've only seen the Fear Footage trilogy. By the way, he's such a nice guy. So, yeah,
Oh yes, yes.
yeah,
And I love those films.
yeah.
Agreed. Okay,
Just the
let's
fact
move
that it
on
was
then.
not like I sorry, just credit to that. Like shot on an iPhone, edited on an iPhone,
Oh,
Mhm.
trilogy, crushed it through like the rental period. Like I feel like Fear Footage, I think we owe credit to Fear
Oh,
Footage. I
it's
think
so
a
good,
lot
yeah.
of during COVID or right as COVID started, that was
Mhm.
that was the one that really kicked off the indie, the rebirth of the, because there's always been indie
Yeah.
for found footage, but that was like the super indie. Oh shit, you can make money from this, or you can get an audience with
Mhm.
this, you can build an audience, and the way that he personalized every package that went out. But yeah, like
Yeah.
they did huge numbers. It was fantastic. Like so, and I know that it's like our film. Like you look at ours, people either love it or hate it. There's like no in between. It's the same thing with like any found footage stuff, right?
Yeah, sure.
And theirs was the same, but it doesn't matter. Like if you look at just the way that he handled everything, and like I don't know, I think everyone like us, like the horror dads, all that. I feel like we owe a lot to the Fear
Yeah.
Footage trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge fan of those films too. Um, agreed. Let's see. This one's kind of fun. Would you fight a werewolf or fight a vampire?
A vampire. I think a werewolf might be
Hmm,
too like burly and yeah,
too
I
big.
think
Rawr.
I guess at least if
then
you
you could
lose to a vampire, you still get to live
That's true.
forever, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Hmm, okay. Well, maybe it depends then.
Mm.
Um, okay, hopefully you've seen this VH1,
yeah.
VHS1 or VHS Part 2.
Part two.
And I may have
Not the
asked you that, Rob, the last time around. I forget.
Yeah, not the wraparound,
I'm gonna
but
say one. I
First
like
one.
the
Yeah.
first segment. What does she say?
the siren.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
like you.
like you.
You,
yeah,
I
yeah, I
like
like
you.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Yes,
Is
and
that the
then in
one that
the end, he,
they made the feature of?
it is.
It
And the
is. That's
Oh,
feature was called Siren,
yeah,
right?
and it
oh,
wasn't found footage, right? It was. I don't
I
think
don't
so.
know. I don't remember.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Anyway, okay. 70s or 80s horror movies?
80s.
Hmm. 70s.
70s.
Oh,
I love it. You
80s
guys are
80s was more
picking
fun.
different things. Yeah,
80s was more fun.
yeah.
70s was more like kind of tonal.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Hmm.
Yes. Yeah, 80s did sort of push the envelope and go over the top. Um, okay, hopefully you've seen these. Cat's Eye or the Twilight Zone movie?
I think I've seen the Twilight Zone movie, so I'm gonna say that.
I haven't seen Cat's Eye, but I have seen Twilight Zone movies. So yeah, Twilight Zone.
My dad
Stephen King.
was is super into Twilight Zone, so growing up, he'd
Mm.
always have like episodes on.
Oh yeah, I love
Yeah.
the episodes. The movie's great too. Let's see. Would you rather attend a movie night party with friends or watch a movie at home?
Mm. This is where my antisocial side's going to come out. I'd rather watch it at home. I have this thing where I watch movies with people, and if I'm
Yeah,
enjoying the movie and I look over at them and they're just like checking their watch or like look bored, it really
on
puts
their
me off.
phone or
Yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah,
hate
yeah,
it.
yeah. Yeah.
Randy saw Pig with our
Pig.
cinematographer, and he just wasn't enjoying it. Like Randy was enjoying it, but he kept looking
Yeah.
over at like an uncomfortable
You'd be like,
Michael, and it just brought down his whole experience.
or like
Um,
seeing the latest Spider-Verse film. I was like into it, and then my girlfriend was into it. She doesn't like Spider-Man at all. She hates Spider-Man, but she was
Mhm.
into it. And then there was a point of like 2 hours in, she's looking at her watch,
well, it's
and I
like two
just
hours 40 or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, and
yeah,
you're like,
so
I'm done. That's it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
ah, so close.
Yeah, I mean that stuff can change. I remember seeing Poor Things with
yeah,
my wife, and
yeah.
15 minutes in, she's like, "We have to watch 2 hours 40 of this," and then by the end, she was just like so into it. She's like, "I could have done
Yeah,
more." So I
Mm,
would
mm.
rather at home just because I mean, I like having movie nights, but it really depends on what movies picked.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
So like I feel like I'm going to do an outdoor movie night soon at my house, and I'll probably show The
Oh,
Mummy or
cool.
something, right? Something where that everyone's seen and is easy. But I think if it's something
Yes.
I seriously want to watch and people want to talk, I get so angry. Like we do
Yeah.
these movie
Same
nights
here.
with people from
Hmm.
work, and they're fun. We spin a wheel and we pick the movie, right? If it's the right movie, like Point
yeah.
Break was fun. But before that,
Yeah.
the movie was like Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and you're there to have a good time. And
I didn't go to that
great
one.
movie,
Yeah,
not a
but
movie to watch with a
Right.
group of people. Um,
Right.
at least when you're trying to like wind down. But yeah, so I mean it's always that's an it depends thing. But yeah,
It depends for sure.
I
yeah,
love going to the cinema on my own. Absolutely love it.
yeah,
So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm. Except if people around you are on their phones or talking.
yeah.
But otherwise,
for sure.
yes. Okay. Two more. Trilogy of Terror or Tales from the Crypt movie from 1975.
Have only seen Tales from the Crypt. You're making us look bad as horror
You're
fans.
making me look bad,
Yeah.
especially. Usually, every single film that's mentioned, Rob's like, I've seen it, so I'm glad you're making him look bad.
All right. Well, Tales from the Crypt then. Okay, last one. I'm sure you've seen these. Halloween 1978 or the original Jaws or Jaws. Yeah, the first Jaws.
Jaws.
Halloween or
Jaws.
Jaws? Jaws.
Jaws.
Yeah.
I mean,
I watched
I love Halloween,
yeah,
but
Halloween's
Jaws.
good. Jaws I had to watch at school, so I watched it like 10, 15 times because we had to write an essay about it. I haven't seen it since, but
Uh,
Jaws I liked, yeah.
Oh,
it
it's so
holds
good.
up.
Jaws
Holds
2
up.
is
Yeah.
great as well. Yeah, yeah.
hmm hmm
Jaws 2 and Psycho 2 are those sequels that deserve more love,
I
I think.
love
Psycho
Psycho
2 is
2.
yeah, Psycho 2 was
Yes.
better than I
Yeah,
expected.
Psycho 2 is so good.
yeah.
Well, thank you both for chatting with me today. The Conjuring Tapes is out now. It's streaming on multiple platforms. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's so good. And lastly, how can folks find you on social media?
You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Wolfcat Films.
Mhm.
Uh, Generally, Instagram is where I'm posting a lot of stuff, but we're trying to do TikTok. I don't get TikTok. The yeah,
But
Yeah,
my age has
I
gone
it's
hear
through.
been
you.
good for us. I finally signed up this time. Like Morgan Lambert from Morg's Hauntings, like she's got a cameo in the film, and like just her push for the film has really been great, and it's helped. And you've seen there's been a lot of like support for it through that, and then other kind of TikTokers have kind of caught on to it. Like I saw one yesterday that kind of blew up. A lot of good word of mouth on this, and which is great for
Yeah.
us as like indie filmmakers who like self-fund our films with minimal money.
Mhm.
Like when we're in the rental slash purchase period before it's on like the free streaming, this is the best time for stuff to blow up, and it's doing it organically, which is nice. And honestly, like I saw a post where someone was trashing the film so hard, and then someone else was like, "Wow, sounds like I really need to watch this renting now." So I was like, "Cool, well you're still renting
Yeah,
it."
yeah. That's a
So
win then. It's a
that's a
win
Yeah.
right
win.
there.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
weird like all the TikTok stuff has been very positive, which is cool. So I think
cool.
there's very different you see very different groups of people. Like I feel like Instagram leans more to the positive than the negative. Facebook right now
Mhm.
is just like a negative kind of kind of whatever. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
but then
It'll be like, this film sucks, and then Rob will be like, thanks for watching it, and then they'll be like, oh well, I kind of like this part, and it's funny how people's opinions just change when one of us comment.
yeah,
If you
I mean
comment, yeah.
it's someone just wrote something about yeah, like literally I just got a pop up about how bad the film was. I was like, hey, they rented it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's cool. This has been a nice polarizing film where it's like really easy to see what people like and what people don't.
Mhm.
But no, we're really
Absolutely.
happy with the response, and we get a kick out of reading good reviews and bad reviews, and like we
Yeah.
don't take anything personally.
Yeah.
Like we set out to make a fun movie, and if people are enjoying it or whatever, then yeah,
Yeah, and you're getting a response and they're watching
hmm
it. And I think that's all you can ask for,
that's
right?
it. Yeah.
Yes. Well, awesome. This has been an absolute blast. Congratulations on your film again. If you're watching, like and subscribe because it helps our channel.
hmm
And thank you one last time to Rob and Randy for coming on. This has been amazing.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.